Hi class, my name is Amy Bohr. I am a CPA and I will be teaching your course this semester. This is Principles of Accounting 1. I do have to apologize in advance. I'm recovering from a cold, so I have a cold lozenge in my mouth. You'll probably see that going around, and I'm very stuffy and it's kind of draining a little bit, so I might be clearing my throat. So I apologize for in advance, but I did still want to put together this welcome video. This course is what's known as a Z course at TCC. It means zero textbook, which doesn't mean that there isn't a textbook. It just means you have to pay $0 for it. So there is a free online textbook and there is a separate video on how to access that and how to use that. So you can watch that. It's just a quick little 8-minute video. And there's also a free homework manager. So some of you guys may have used My Accounting Lab or Connect before. And so now with this Z type course, it's going to be called My Open Math, but it is where your accounting homework will be done. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And there is a separate video on how to access that as well and how to register in that. And so all of the resources are going to be free. This will be an online course. And so you will have to have access to the internet, reliable access to the internet, since everything will be done online, including your textbook and your homework. And all the quizzes will be done in Blackboard and some of your tests and things like that. So definitely make sure you have reliable internet. You can always go to the computer labs and use their internet, but you have to make sure that you go, that you know the office hours or the open hours, I should say, for the computer lab, if you're planning on using that as your sole source of internet. So that you can make sure that you get all of your assignments completed on time. Not having access to the internet is not a valid excuse for not getting your work done. So make sure that you have backup options, and just in case your internet goes down for whatever reason, you can go to the regular public library. They have access to internet, or any of the computer labs at any of the campuses at TCC. I just want to use this video to kind of go over some of the expectations, just like I would in a normal face-to-face class, and go over a little bit about Blackboard, just in case this is the first time you've ever taken an online course. So once you log into Blackboard, you will see your choices of all the classes that you have, and you choose your Principles of Accounting 1 course, and it should look like this. I've got it set up so that it should look like what you see. You'll see your welcome announcement. I do try to post an announcement every week. I usually try to do around Thursday and Friday to remind you of assignments that are coming up due. Typically, our weeks in Blackboard will start on Tuesday and end on Monday. So most assignments will be due on Monday by midnight, 11:59 p.m. If Monday happens to be a holiday, then the due date would be pushed back to Tuesday. So, and I'll have that written out in the due dates within Blackboard, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So by the latest, the assignments will be opened on Tuesday of each week, and everything will be due by Monday at 11:59 p.m. unless it's a holiday or spring break or something interferes. Most of the time, though, so that's a whole week to get your assignments done. And most of the time, I do open it up the Friday before. So most of the time, you'll have 2 weekends or 10 days to get the assignments done. So let's go through and look at Blackboard a little bit. So you'll get an announcement. Make sure that you're receiving these announcements because, like I said, I do send out announcements every week reminding you of things that are due. And so if you have not received this announcement yet saying that welcome to class and things like that, make sure you are going into Blackboard, looking at your settings, make sure the proper email address is there so you don't miss any of these. It is still your responsibility, though, to make sure you're turning your assignments in on time. So if I forget to send an announcement out one week, or something happens and you didn't get the announcement, again, that's not going to be a valid excuse. So it's your responsibility to make sure you know when things are due and that they're turned in on time. So the next thing over here in your menus tool in Blackboard is Start Here. And so with all of your online classes, you should start there. So it's got a picture of me and a little bit of background about myself, and a little bit of summary and course structure. I'm going to be using this video over several semesters, and I teach 211, which is Principles of Accounting 1 and Small Business Accounting, and I teach 16-week courses and 8-week courses. So if your Blackboard looks a little bit different than what's in this video, don't freak out about it. It just means I've recorded it for using another Blackboard shell, I should say, or a different semester to record this video. But the premise of all the things I'm going to go over are pretty much the same. And if you have any questions, something look different or whatever, just feel free to email me. Prerequisites for Principles of Accounting 1 is you have to have taken the math placement test and placed in Math 121 or higher. And if you did not do that, you shouldn't be allowed to register for the course. That being said, there is not, people freak out about accounting because they think it's a lot of math. It is a lot of math, but it's more about knowing the accounting rules. And the highest level of math you really have to do is knowing how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, knowing how to solve a basic algebraic equation, like if you're given 3 variables, solve for the missing one, and being able to work with percentages, taking a percentage, converting to a decimal, and decimal to percentage, vice versa. You should have some basic computer skills. You can check there for that. Again, the required textbook is listed there. You do not have to purchase a textbook. You do not have to purchase a homework manager code. All of that is going to be provided free because this is a Z course, a zero textbook or a zero cost course. And I have a separate video on how to access that online textbook, so you can watch that one. But basically just click on the link. Make sure you save that link, again, outside of Blackboard once you open up the textbook for the first time. So let me just go ahead and click on this link here. Once you open up the textbook for the first time, make sure you save this as a favorite or you bookmark it somehow in your web browser so that you can access the textbook just in case Blackboard goes down. And you should do the same thing with the homework manager. Once you go into mymath.com, which is the homework manager, you should be saving that bookmark as well. Make sure you're writing down your username and password so that if Blackboard is down for whatever reason, you can still go in and get your homework done. So you've obviously found the welcome video that I've prepared. And also, again, here is that separate video on how to access and use the online textbook. And then you'll see the first steps here. I'm not really going to go through and read these first steps. Just go through and read those and realize if you don't do at least the first week assignments, you'll be dropped by the withdrawal date to receive a tuition refund. For this particular course that I'm doing this video on, that date is January 25th. But if you're taking an 8-week course or you're in a different semester, that date will be different. So just make sure you look here for the date that you will be dropped if you don't complete the assignments. And then there's a navigating the course. It just talks about all the different things that you can find under the menu. So I'm talking about this menu up here. So you can see that it'll go through all of these items here. And it just discusses what's in each one of these items, okay? And then there's some etiquette rules. Because this is an online class, I highly recommend that you go through and read those etiquette rules and you follow them. It's going to go over basic things like don't use all capital letters when responding to people because it comes across as shouting. And just being courteous to your classmates when you're responding to discussion boards or emails or whatever. Make sure you're being courteous just like you would in a normal classroom. And then here's your first discussion board. If you've taken an online course before, you know that you've got that introduce yourself to your classmates. It's typically the first discussion board with every single online class. It helps us to establish a community. You can kind of see who's taken the class. Maybe you'll notice that you had another class with them, especially if you're in the business degree program. A lot of you guys are taking the same courses. And it lets you practice doing that discussion board so that you make sure that you're doing those correctly. Discussion boards are due on Saturdays, your original response. So anytime you have a discussion board, there would be some type of question posed. And your original response to that question is due by Saturday. And then replies to at least 2 other students due by Monday at 11:59 p.m. If you do not get your original post in by Saturday, it will not count. It will not be graded. Okay, and your original post is 3 of the 5 points of your discussion board question. So let me just click on this. This is your first discussion board. And so you can always access the discussion board by clicking on the link, or you can go to the discussions page and access it that way. But let me just click on this link. And you'll see here at first you can't see anything. And I did that so that you have to create your own original discussion, create your own answer first before you can view anybody else's. I was having an issue several semesters ago where some people wait till the very end of the week to respond to a discussion board, and they were basically just copying what other people had said. I want you to think about the question and answer it in your own words with your own perspective. So that's why I make you create your original thread first. So once you create thread, you'll be able to see the question, okay? They're usually in blue, so you can see the question, and then you can see the rubric of how I grade discussion boards. Discussion boards, again, are worth 5 points apiece. Your original response, which is due by Saturday at 11:59 p.m., is 3 points of the 5 points total. And again, notice it's due by Saturday, and then your responses to 2 other people are typically due by Monday, but this particular semester, Monday happens to be a holiday, so it'll be Tuesday. And then your response to 2 other students is worth 1 point each, so that's where the total of 5 points. Also notice that I do grade on grammar, complete sentences, and misspellings of words. You should be practicing trying to communicate in a professional environment, especially if you're going into a business program, which I assume most of you guys are since you're taking Principles of Accounting 1. So that's why I grade on grammar, spelling, things like that, because you should be using these to practice like you're sending this as a response to a client, or you're sending this as a response to one of your managers or supervisors. They're not going to be thrilled with a lack of grammar, misspelled words. It makes the company look bad. It makes you look bad. So make sure that you may even want to type these up into Word, and then copy and paste them into the area where you have to put your response. Okay, so again, make sure you are using complete sentences, grammar, misspelled words, and things like that. All right, and then you just hit submit, and again, post your original by Saturday and response to 2 others by Monday or Tuesday if Monday's a holiday. So let me go back to start here. And then the other discussion board link here is, do you have any questions regarding this course? So you can click there, and if you have any questions regarding the course, like, I don't know, how do I access the textbook? Maybe you didn't find the video, or anything like that, just a general question about the course, you can always post them there. I highly encourage other students, if they know the answers, to respond to your classmates. And if I don't see another student responding, I'll try to respond within 24 to 48 hours. I'm pretty good about responding to those things. But please help your other classmates out. If you happen to see a question posted and I haven't responded yet, please help a classmate out and respond to them. So that's the Start Here tab. Once you're finished there, then you should move on to the Course Information tab. And you'll see a little blurb about plagiarism. I do not, TCC's policy is a no plagiarism policy, so make sure that you're not copying and pasting things from the textbook or any other website to answer your questions. Make sure you're using your own words. And then if you click here, and anytime you see a folder within Blackboard, that means there's something inside the folder. So click on it and open it up. And you'll see here the syllabus for this course and the course schedule. And again, your course schedule may look different than what's on this video because it may be a different semester, it may be a different course. I'm using this video for all of my 211 classes. And so just make sure you look down and you read through the items there. And then you'll see the grading policy, and again, your grading policy may be a little bit different depending on the semester. So most of the time, though, in my Accounting 211 online classes, your exams are worth 55% of your grade, your homework assignments are worth 20% of your grade, quizzes are 15%, and your discussion boards are 10%. And so that's how you'll be graded. I do drop the lowest homework grade and the lowest quiz grade. So if you're sick one week or work gets really busy or your kid's school schedule, whatever, just realize I do drop 1 homework grade and 1 quiz grade. So don't freak out if you have a bad week. However, because I do drop those 2 lowest grades, I do not round the grade up at the end of the semester. So at the end of the semester, if your current grade column says you have an 89.99, that is going to be a B. I do not round those up. You get more out of me dropping those lowest grades than you do me rounding, 1/100th of 1%. The grade book is kept in Blackboard, so you can constantly be looking to see what your grade is. And late and makeup work policy. I typically have a no late work and no makeup work policy because I do drop that lowest homework and quiz grade. We'll talk about the exams here in a few minutes when we get to the syllabus. The exception to that rule is your homework. I do allow 15 late passes in the My Open Math, which is where your homework is done. and it's up to you whether you use a late pass on it or not. However, you do have to use the late pass before the due date is due. So you have 15 to use throughout the semester. And let's just say we're coming up on Monday at 11:59 p.m. and I haven't finished my homework yet. I need, 24 more hours. Then you can click on Use Late Pass right beside the homework. You'll see a little button that you can click that says Use a Late Pass. And you can click on that and it gives you a 24-hour extension. So if the homework was due Monday about 11:59 p.m., you use a late pass, your new due date will be Tuesday by 11:59 p.m. However, when you use that late pass, it does deduct 10% from your grade. So if 100 is the highest that you can get, if you use a late pass, the highest that you could get would be a 90. You are allowed to use 2 late passes. So if you get to Tuesday at 11:59 p.m., you use that first late pass, and you still haven't finished, the day was crazy, whatever, you can click Use Another Late Pass, and it will extend your due date to Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. That is it, though. Just 2 late passes per assignment. You do not have enough late passes to do that on every single assignment. And we're going to be going over 14 chapters, and you've only got 15 late passes for the whole semester. So make sure you use those late passes wisely. Try to get that work in on time so you don't have to use those late passes and get the 10%. Each late pass you use, it's 10% off for each late pass. So if you use 2, your highest grade you could get would be an 80. Okay. And again, homework is the only thing I will accept that on. Nothing else is accepted late. If we go into the course content area, that's where most of the assignments are. Okay, most of the meat of the course is going to be here. And again, your course content area may look a little bit different. 8-week courses are going to be moving a little bit faster because we have to cover more material in a smaller amount of time. So you'll either be covering one or 2 chapters this first week. And so all of my online courses are arranged the same way, though. Under course content, you'll see the week. You'll see which chapters you're covering that week. You'll see the course learning outcomes that correspond to that chapter, and the chapter learning outcomes that correspond to that chapter. Then when you click to open the folder, you will see a weekly assignments instruction, which kind of tells you what's due each week, when things are due, and things like that. I put my welcome video here again, just in case you missed it in the Start Here tab, which obviously if you're watching this video, you didn't miss it. But I put it both places just in case. And then there's a weekly reading viewing folder and a weekly assignments folder. Notice again, they're both folders, so when you click on them, there are things inside. Up here, the weekly assignment instructions, this is just an item. Notice there's no folder, so there's nothing to click on to open. But this does recap what is due, so it's important that you look at that. So if you click on the weekly reading viewing materials, you'll notice in here that there's a link to the online textbook for those particular chapters for that week. There are PowerPoints that I've created for those chapters that we'll be covering. There may or may not be handouts, and there's always optional practice demonstration problems. So let's click here and look at this material. So inside the weekly reading viewing materials folder, I had that video on how to access the online textbook. So if you didn't find it in the Start Here tab, you can see it here. You can either watch this video here, or you can click the link if you need closed captioning. That'll take you directly to the YouTube video that is closed captioned. I've had a difficulty linking directly to the YouTube videos. It makes the videos very grainy and blurry. So that's why I've had to do it this way. So if you don't need closed captionings, you can just open it up here and open up to a full screen, and the video won't be blurry at all. And if you need closed captioning, then you just click on this link and it'll take you to the YouTube video that is closed captioned, and it won't be grainy or blurry at all either there. You can either access the textbook through this link here, or you can go straight to the chapters that you need through these 2 links here. And when you click on it, it'll take you directly to the readings for that particular chapter. That's chapter 1, and that's chapter 2. And you can click back and forth on the pages for the chapters. Okay, it'll open up in a new page. All right, and then there's the PowerPoints. I highly recommend that you go through these because there are examples in some of them. And the examples get more and more detailed as we get further into the chapters. Let me bring one up, for instance, so that you can see. Let's see. Let's do cash. You can see here this chapter is on cash, and it goes through journal entries, petty cash reconciliations, bank reconciliations. So there's examples on the PowerPoint slide. It's not just little short snippets or whatever. The first chapter is not a whole lot of problems, so there's more, just general writing on that. But as we get further into chapters and we're actually doing some exercises, there are some sample exercises on those PowerPoints. And those are the same ones that I use in my face-to-face classes, so that you might want to go through and read through those. Sometimes there are handouts. This first one is a basic chart of accounts. You may want to open this up and either save it on a jump drive, on your hard drive, on your computer, on a Google Drive, whatever your preferred method is of saving documents. You may want to open that up. You may want to print it because as we get into chapter 2, this will become very, very important to know types of accounts and things like that. And then there'll always be some optional practice demonstration problems. These are not graded. You do not have to go through them if you don't want to. I do highly recommend that you do, because these, again, are problems that I would normally do in a face-to-face class. And so if you click here and you open this up, you see that this is optional practice demonstration problems, and it's an Excel spreadsheet. And then right below it is the solutions. So what I would recommend you do, you go through and you try to work through these problems, and then you open up and you check your work and see if you did it correct. And so I've already got these opened here. And so this is what it would look like when you first open up just the regular one without the answers. You'll see here that you need to fill in the yellow boxes, solve for the missing piece on the accounting equation. And if you've never used Excel before, notice that there are 3 tabs down here. This is what's known as a workbook. And then each one of these is a worksheet. So when you open up Excel, make sure you're looking at all the tabs down here. So solve this initial one, and then you can look at the answers and see if you got it right or not. And then exercise 2, you'll have a problem in MyOpenMath for homework just like this. So you can try to go through and record these transactions in this spreadsheet. And then you can go to the solutions and look to see if you got them right. Okay. And then exercise 3 is financial statements, income statement, statement of retained earnings, and balance sheet. You're going to use this information up here to prepare these, and then you can go to the solutions and see if you got it right. Okay, so again, these would be problems I would do in a face-to-face class. So again, these are optional. They are not turned in for any credit. Just extra practice for you guys. Accounting is going to be all about practice. You're going to get out of this class exactly what you put into it, and if you do not practice, you're not going to be successful. Accounting is a difficult subject for a lot of people. It's like learning a new language. So make sure you're using those opportunities within the PowerPoint to look at examples. You're doing the readings to look at examples. Some of those videos recorded, embedded in the online textbook show other professors doing problems. Make sure you're taking advantage of all of the opportunities that you have to solve additional problems. It's all about practice, practice, practice. Just like when you were learning math originally, you were trying to learn those times tables and you just had to sit down with those flip cards, and 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2. It's all about the repetition and the practice. And so then this is the weekly reading viewing materials area. And then if you go back to week 1, main folder, and you look at the weekly assignments, notice that the very first assignment you have is to register in MyOpenMath. That is where you're going to do all your homework. That's your homework manager. You may even have a quiz or a test in this MyOpenMath. Okay, so your very first assignment is that. Then there is a discussion board for this week, homework, and quiz. And again, most of these items are going to be due by Monday at 11:59. But if Monday is a holiday, they'll be due on Tuesday. So this happens to be a video recorded for the spring semester. So this very first week, Monday happens to be Martin Luther King Day. So everything will be due on Tuesday instead. But just be aware that most assignments are due on Monday. So again, it's a folder. So if we click on it, you will see the class introduction forum. You can click there and introduce yourself. Again, make sure you put your original response in by Saturday and reply to at least 2 other students by Monday or Tuesday if Monday's a holiday. That original post earns you 3 points, and each response to 2 other students earns you 2, so a total of 5. You're going to need to register in MyOpenMath. You'll go to myopenmath.com, or you can click on this link over here to access myopenmath.com. And you'll click here, register as a new student. Some of you may have used MyOpenMath before. Some of the math instructors are also using this website to teach math with now. And so if you've already registered in MyOpenMath, just log in with your normal username and password. And over here on the far left-hand side, you'll see where it says add a class. And that's when you'll need this course ID and enrollment key, okay? For those of you who have never used MyOpenMath before, you're just going to register here as a new student. It'll ask you to set up a username and password. And at the very bottom, it'll ask you for this course ID and enrollment key. Okay, so make sure you jot these down. And again, your course ID and enrollment key may be different than what's on this video, because this video is going to be used for all my 211 classes in different semesters. So make sure you are looking up in Blackboard what your particular course ID and your particular enrollment key is. Make sure you're typing these in exactly how they are, with the S capitalized and no spaces here. If you do not enter it correctly, it won't let you enroll. So make sure that you jot these down, the course ID and the enrollment key for your particular course. And there is a video, an extra video here on how to register. So jot these down, watch the video, go to myopenmath.com and register, and that's where you're going to do your homework. So discussion board, register in MyOpenMath, and then once you're registered in MyOpenMath, each week I'll provide a link to MyOpenMath where you can, again, just go in, log in with your username and password. Okay, so make sure you write down that username and password and you keep it somewhere where you're going to be able to remember it, because that's how you're going to log in and do your homework. You won't need the course ID and the enrollment key anymore once you're registered, just your username and password. And then your quizzes, there'll be a quiz on almost every chapter, and again, they'll be due each week as we're covering the material by Monday at midnight, not midnight, 11:59 p.m. Midnight will be late, or Tuesday if Monday is a holiday. So chapters 1 and 2 I kind of combined together, because chapter 1 is just a brief little overview about accounting and business in general, types of businesses. There's not a whole lot in that first chapter, so I can kind of combine the two. Your quizzes are going to be multiple choice. There may be some true false, some matching, those types of things, and most of the quizzes are given in Blackboard. One of the things I will say about the quizzes is you are given 2 opportunities on every quiz. So if you take it the first time and you didn't do so hot, you can take it again. And the highest grade will be the one that counts in the Blackboard gradebook. However, be careful, because once you click to open this, you're going to be required to finish it. You can't go back and forth, open it, look at the questions, figure out what the answers are, and then come back into it again later. Once you open it, that's going to count as one attempt. So make sure that you're ready to finish it. I would highly recommend that you've read the textbook, you've gone over those practice example exercises, and you've done the homework before you clicked to do the quiz for the first time. You are allowed, it's open notes, open book, so you're allowed any materials that you want to solve the problems in the quiz, and they're not timed, but please make sure that you are working within your computer so that it doesn't fall asleep, because if it does, it might kick you out. Okay. Also make sure that you are saving all the answers. Blackboard should be saving them for you. That's Blackboard's set up to automatically save your answers. But over on the right hand side of each question, there's a little box over there. Make sure it says saved. It should have like a green check mark and it should say saved. So make sure they're all saved before you submit. And again, if you're not happy with your first score, you can take it twice. The highest one will be the one that counts. Your MyOpenMath homework, when you do that in the MyOpenMath website, those grades do not come over automatically. I have to manually input those. One of the reasons that I do that is because I like to review some of the homework. I can see what you guys have done when you submit that work. And so I like to go in and see what people are doing and see what kind of grades are coming up, so that I can kind of send out emails. You may want to look at this, or I see that you didn't get this question right, blah, 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 blah. So those grades do not come over to Blackboard automatically. I have to manually load them. So don't freak out if you have done the homework and it's been a couple days and it's still not posted in the Blackboard gradebook, because I update those once or twice a week. So you can always email me and say, especially this first couple weeks, I know you guys get nervous about your grades not posting. So these first couple weeks, if you've done your My Math homework and you don't see it posted on Blackboard, just shoot me a quick email. Hey, professor, I think I finished it. I think I submitted it correctly. Can you please double check to make sure you can see it, because I can't see my grade in Blackboard gradebook. Okay, I'll be happy to look at it for you. Not a big deal. So that's for the first week, and that's kind of going to be the repetition each week. There's not a discussion board question every week, but there are 4 or 5, maybe even 6 throughout the semester. Almost every chapter you're going to have homework, and almost every chapter you're going to have a quiz. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of each week. All right, so that's kind of course content. And again, typically I will open up the week on Tuesday at the latest, but typically I open up that Friday before, but Tuesday at the latest, and then everything due by Monday at 11:59 p.m. except for your discussion board. Your original post is due by Saturday. Unless I put a different due date in Blackboard. So make sure you're actually looking at the due dates in that weekly assignment instructions. I post due dates there, and the due dates are also listed here, and the due dates are also listed in My Math. So there's due dates everywhere. Make sure that you are paying attention to those. Most of the time it's due on Monday, but occasionally it will be a different day. So as the weeks progress, I'll open up the next week. And typically, like I said, you'll have 10 days or 2 weekends to get things done. I do not open it all up at one time, so don't expect that. The other thing I wanted to go over is the syllabus a little bit. And again, your syllabus may be a little bit different than this, again, because I am using this for multiple classes. But they're all basically the same. Tidewater has a basic template, and we all have to use it. So it should be your course information up here, my contact information. I'm located at the Virginia Beach campus in the Advanced Technology Building, room H231. The only day I am actually on campus is Tuesdays. I have a Tuesday evening class, so I'm there for a couple hours before class. So if you want to come in and see me for an office hour, please shoot me an email first just to make sure I'm going to be there, because occasionally I do have meetings that call me out of the office during my office hours. If they're, if a meeting is set for Tuesday at 2 o'clock, I may have to go to, and I might not be there for my office hours, and I hate for you to drive all the way over there and then me not be there. So just shoot me an email saying, hey, I need some help. I'm going to think about coming in to see you. You're going to be there, this Tuesday. You can always reach me during email. I pride myself on my prompt response times with emails. The only thing I may not do is respond to emails over the weekend. I do occasionally take little mini vacations over weekends, and sometimes I don't have access to the internet. So if you email Monday through Friday, I'm pretty quick about responding to emails, 24 hours at the most, but typically it's within a couple hours, because I do get my email on my phone, and so I am checking it constantly. But if you do email me on the weekend, if I happen to not be anywhere where I have access to the internet, I will respond to all emails over the weekend by Monday at 11:59 p.m. Okay, but most of the time it's way earlier than that. So if you have a question on anything, the easiest way to get to me is through email. You can always come in during office hours, and I also plan to have a couple of online office hours where I will physically be logged in. I have a webcam. You can, if you have a headset where you can ask questions with a microphone, or if you have a webcam that has a microphone, we can talk back and forth. Or there's a chat box where you can type in your questions in the chat box. And I'll have a couple of those throughout the semester as well. They're called Blackboard Collaborate, and there will be a link for you to click on to access. It's kind of like a GoToMeeting or a Google Hangout, where we can kind of talk and you can ask any questions that you have. Okay, and I'm going to try to do one of those for all of my online classes this very first week of classes, so that you can get through any questions that you have. I am going out of town this first week, so it'll probably either be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday evening when I have those Blackboard Collaborate sessions for this very first week. Notice also my office phone number is there. I only respond to, I will only do return phone calls when I'm in the office on Tuesdays. And so if you contact me any other day or Tuesday after I've already left the office, you will not get a return phone call from me until the next Tuesday when I'm in office. But I do have access to my voicemails outside of the office. So if you call and you leave a voicemail and I hear it and I think it's something I can respond to via email, I'll shoot you an email with a response. Okay, so either email me, you can leave me a voicemail because I do get my voicemails via the internet as well. And so I can email a response to you, but I will not return phone calls from my personal cell phone number. Okay, so if you want to contact me and talk to me in person outside of those Blackboard Collaborate online office hours, you can leave a voicemail and I will return calls on Tuesdays. Your link to your free online textbook is there. The link to the MyOpenMath is there, but again, it's just myopenmath.com. Again, make sure you save both of those as your bookmarks or your favorites in your internet browser in case Blackboard is down. You can always get to those and do your homework and your readings. Course description, again, I'm not going to go over that. I've already talked about prerequisites. I've talked about your required course materials. This is the course learning outcomes that we're required to cover per the Virginia Community College system. Topics covered. This is the meat of what most students want to know, right? How am I going to be assessed? So you should be reading the chapters and watching the videos embedded within the online textbook. You should be viewing the PowerPoints. You should be looking over those optional practice exercises that I went over in the beginning part of the video. You should be doing any discussion boards. Again, your original post posted by Saturday at the latest, and responses to 2 other students by Monday at 11:59. If your original post is not done by Saturday, then you will not get those 3 points for your original post. The whole point of a discussion board is that we discuss. And so if you're not putting your original post in there in time for other students to reply, then there can be no discussion. So that's why I have that original post due by Saturday. Exams. It'll depend on whether you, excuse me, it'll depend on whether you are taking an 8-week course or a 16-week course as to how many exams there are. With the 16-week course, there are 5 exams, including the final. So there'll be 4 during the regular semester, and then there'll be the final exam. With an 8-week course, there's just not enough time to cover all the material and have 5 exams. So I've moved that one down to 4 exams. So there'll be 3 regular exams throughout the semester, and then the final exam. You are allowed to use 1 page of notes. So 1 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with any notes you want on it. You should not be using any other information when you take the exams other than your page of notes, and you are allowed a calculator. Okay, you should not be going on the internet and looking up answers. You really won't have time to anyway because the exams are timed. So make sure you're ready for the exam when you click on it. You're allowed 1 attempt. Once you click on it, you will be required to finish it. They are timed, like I said, so make sure that you're ready. Make sure you have your 1 page of notes that you can use. Again, it could have examples of problems on it that you've been struggling with. It could have formulas. It could have anything you want to on it. Okay, this is your note sheet. You can have anything on it. 1 page, front only. I do not require you to come into the testing center. There has been some chit chat that TCC is going to require us to start doing that, but we're not required to yet, so I do not require you guys to come into the testing center. I do not allow makeup exams, and let me say why. Because I do drop the lowest exam grade. And so if you've had a bad week again, or work gets busy, you have to go out of town, you don't have access to internet, and we have an exam that week, I do drop the lowest exam grade. Most exams are done in Blackboard. Some may be done in MyOpenMath, and they will be fill in the blank. They're not all multiple choice. There are actual problems that you'll have to solve. Some of them might be short answer. Some of them might be fill in the blank. Some of them may be multiple choice. There are a couple multiple choice. Some of them might be true false. Some of them might be matching. But there will be some where you actually have to write your own journal entries or write your own answer. So make sure you're prepared for that. You know, it's not just multiple choice. Let me talk about that dropping the lowest test grade. So in a 16-week course, there are 5 exams, including the final exam. If you miss one of the first 4 exams, then you'll be required to take the final exam. Okay. If, however, you've taken the first 4 exams and you finished all the other assignments and you have an A or a B in the class, then you can opt out of that final exam. You don't have to take the final exam. But you have to have taken the first 4 and finished all the other assignments and have an A or a B in the course to be able to opt out of that final. If, however, you were sick or something happened and you forgot to take one of the first 4 exams, then you will have to take the final. Okay, you won't have the option because you won't have an A or a B, obviously, if you missed one of the exams. Okay, when we're talking about an 8-week course, then there's only 4 exams, including the final. So in order to be eligible to not take the final exam, you have to have taken the first 3 exams and have finished all the other work, homeworks, quizzes, discussion boards, and have an A or a B in the course at that time, in which case you'll be eligible to not take the final exam. So either the final exam gets dropped if you have an A or B in the course and you've taken the first 3 or 4 exams, or if you miss one of those first 3 or 4 exams, then you don't have the choice of not taking the final. You have to take the final because that one that you missed will be the one that gets dropped. Okay. If you have any questions about that, again, either email me or log on during that online Blackboard Collaborate session I'm going to have this first week, and I'll send out another email announcing when that's going to be sometime during the week. So it'll be probably either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So be looking for that during the first part of this semester. All right, so I dropped the lowest exam grade, and or you can opt not to take the exam if you have an A or B in the course and you've taken all of the other exams and all the other assignments. Quizzes, again, most of those are in Blackboard. You have 2 attempts. They're not timed, but once you click on a quiz to open it, that counts as 1 attempt. Okay, so don't email me saying, oh, I clicked on it by mistake or whatever. When you click on it, it's going to open up the quiz and you're going to be required to finish it, and that'll count as 1 attempt. You can take it again, okay, and the highest one will be the one that counts in the grade book. And I do not allow any late quizzes, but I do drop the lowest quiz grade, okay? Homework assignments are going to be done in MyOpenMath, and there is a separate video on accessing MyOpenMath. This is the only thing that I will accept late, but you have to choose to use a late pass before the due date. So if an assignment is due Monday by 11:59 p.m., you have to decide before that you're going to use that late pass and actually click the button in MyOpenMath that says use late pass. And it will give you a 24-hour extension, but it deducts 10% from your grade. You can use up to 2 late passes per assignment. However, you're only given 15 late passes and there are 14 chapters. So you won't have enough late passes to do that on every single assignment. So make sure you use those late passes wisely. And that's pretty much it. Exams, quizzes, discussion boards, and homework. Those will be your assignments that you're assessed on. And again, this is the course schedule for this particular course. Yours may be a little bit different depending on the semester or whether it's a 16 or 18 week. I do send out Blackboard communications. Again, I send out a weekly announcement stating things that are due. I'll usually send out a couple of reminders on test weeks. If you are sending me an email, please, please, please make sure you note somewhere which class you are in, and please make sure you have your name on there somewhere. I've been getting a lot of emails lately that people are sending from their phones and they're not signing their emails at the end. So I don't know who it came from, okay? And please also note which class you are in. In other words, a Principles Accounting 1 or ACC211 online 8-week course or online 16-week course. I have a couple of different classes, so it'll make it much easier for me to respond, especially if I'm not sitting at my desk. If I'm just responding to you via my phone, it's a lot harder for me to look things up. So please make sure that you denote which class you're in, and please put a name on it so I know who I'm responding to. Or else you're just going to get a response from me. You're like, who is this? Email me, please, as many times as you want. Again, I'm very responsive to emails. That is my preferred method of communication with an online course. If you're having issues with anything within Blackboard, the online textbook, or MyOpenMath, please try to use a different web browser. You have Mozilla Firefox, you have Google Chrome, you have Internet Explorer, and now with Windows 10 there's Edge, which is not good with Blackboard. So do not use, if you have Windows 10, use one of the other web browsers. Do not use Edge, okay? And Blackboard has had issues with Explorer before. The help desk has said that Mozilla Firefox is the one that is most reliable with Blackboard, and I've found that to be the case with MyOpenMath as well. So try to use Firefox if you can. Chrome, I would say, would be the next. I know Apple also has Safari. So if you have an issue, try changing web browsers first, and then if you still have an issue, maybe contact the help desk. Attendance policy, obviously this isn't a face-to-face class, so I can't have a sign-in sheet. So the way that your attendance is recorded is whether you do the assignments or not. And so anytime you miss assignments, that is going to be considered an absence. And depending on whether you're in an 8-week course or a 16-week course, either missing the equivalent of 2 weeks or missing the equivalent of 1 week will be considered I can't think of the word that I want to say. Unexcused or unacceptable absences, and you may be dropped from the course. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. Something was going on in the background that distracted me. So if you're in a 16-week course missing more than the equivalent of 2 weeks worth of work, you may be administratively dropped from the course. In an 8-week course, since it's so compact and so much going on each week, if you miss the equivalent of 1 week's worth of work, you may be administratively withdrawn from the course. Late work, makeup work, I've already kind of talked about. I don't really accept anything late except for the homework, and that's only if you choose to use a late pass. Classroom environment. This online environment is our classroom, so the only thing that I really have an issue with that is making sure you're being respectful to other students when you're responding to their posts, okay? Inclement weather really doesn't typically affect an online course because you guys can still access through the internet. The only time I've extended a due date is last semester when we had those couple hurricanes and a lot of trees and power lines came down, and I think like half of the Hampton Roads area was out of power for a couple days. So I did extend the due dates that time, but for most of the time I do not extend due dates at all with an online class, because most of the time you're going to be able to access the internet, and most of the time you've had 10 days to get it done. So don't wait to the last minute. If we happen to have a hurricane at the last minute, you know, when it's due and your power goes out, well, you've had 10 days to get it done. I may or may not have a little bit of sympathy for your situation. So make sure that you're using your time wisely during the 10 days or that you have to get things done. Don't wait to the last minute. Power outage may happen even without a hurricane. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for people who wait for the last minute and then have computer glitches. I think that's pretty much it. We've already talked about the grading policy and the weighting of assignments, me not rounding grades up, the things that I drop. Pretty much I drop a homework, quiz, and an exam grade. Withdrawal policies, January 25th for a 16-week course is the date to drop. And for an 8-week course, I think I've got it written down here somewhere. I thought I did, maybe I don't. Oh, for an 8-week course, the last day to drop to get a tuition refund is January 17th. 16-week is January 25th. But again, if this is from a different semester, you may have to look at your syllabus to look for that. And then the last day to withdraw without academic penalty. This is pretty much a standard TCC thing. The only other thing I would say is if you do have accommodations because you have some type of disability, through Educational Accessibility Office, please make sure you email me those immediately so I can make sure you're accommodated. If you do not send me the accommodations, I can't make sure that you're properly accommodated. So make sure that you send those to me well in advance. Please send them to me this first week so I can make sure that you're given all the accommodations that you are required to be able to participate. Emergency procedures aren't really applicable to an online class. And then here's some helpful web addresses. The online help desk if you happen to have issues with Blackboard. They can help reset passwords and things like that. And then these are just other general websites that TCC has us give to you. The online textbook is here, and my website is there. Okay, so that's it. I hope we have a very successful semester. For those of you in a 16-week course, it'll be a 16-week trudge through. The 8-week course is going to be intense. I'm going to tell you guys that right up front. I'm sure you guys realize that we have to cover all the same material that a 16-week course would, but cram it down into 8 weeks. So it's going to be really, really intense. So I hope you guys are on your game and you are organized and ready to tackle this. Because it's going to be quick. It's going to be a lot of information really quickly. So if you are struggling to keep up, or especially during these first couple of chapters, if the debit and credit thing doesn't jive with you, please make sure you're seeking some assistance. There's tutoring lab that offers accounting tutoring at the Virginia Beach campus, and I've heard very, very good things about the accounting tutor there. Just log on to the Virginia Beach tutoring lab webpage and look at the hours, or call to find out what hours they are doing the accounting tutoring. I know last semester it was Monday through Thursday. I want to say it was 4:30 to 8:30, but I could be wrong on that, and the hours could change from semester to semester. So just make sure you look at the tutoring lab, go on the main TCC webpage and do a web search for tutoring lab. And again, I don't know anything about the other ones on the other campuses, but I've heard great things from my students from the Virginia Beach tutor. And you can always log on during the online Blackboard Collaborate sessions, ask questions there. You can email me and say, look, I'm having a hard time with this homework problem number 3 for chapter 3. This is what I did. Can you kind of help me out? Don't just email me and say I don't understand, because then I'm going to respond back to you about what specifically don't you understand. I'm not going to give you the answer. So show me what work you did and say, look, I did this, this, and this. I added this, I subtracted that. This is the calculation that I did. This is the answer that I got, and it keeps telling me that I'm wrong. I can work with that. I can email you, and most of the time we can work that out via email. So good luck. I hope to have lots of correspondence with you guys throughout the semester, and I hope it's a great semester for everybody.